Thank you very much. You know, if I had the literary ability, I'd write a series of books, and I would entitle them The Genius of Ray Winter. Ray was an auction owner, a manager, he was a cattle buyer, cattle feeder, commodity trader, rancher, farmer, realtor, banker, financial planner, lawyer, veterinarian, doctor, psychiatrist, statistician, engineer, architect, pioneer, and professional. He could also preach, he could sing, fly an airplane, and if needed, give step-by-step instructions on how to castrate a bobcat. You know, Ray's passion was winter livestock, and his love was his family. He was a master at raising and perfecting each of them. They say the real test of a bull is his progeny. And so unique is this Winter family that when given the opportunity, each one has been able to expand and make it better. Now, Ray Winters would never brag, but I know he would be proud in the way each of his children has written their own success story. There was no privilege growing up Winter. Ray and Sue raised workers. Many of you have only seen them behind a desk, but I've seen them at the end of a sorting stick, in a trench laying water lines, or at the end of a shovel working concrete. One truck driver even gave Mark Winter the opportunity to donate a finger to a post hole in Enid, Oklahoma. May the driver rest in peace. Ray was extremely well-read. His comprehension and ability to apply merchandising or business philosophy was unmatched. Whether it was Dale Carnegie, the Holy Bible, Sam Walton, Lou Holtz, George Patton, or Attila the Hun, he'd make it relevant. Ray would challenge you to the point of mental exhaustion, but the end result would make you a better person and manager. He was a constant study of efficiency. He called me one evening. He said, "John, I want you, Weston, Mark, Brian, be here at my house by 6 o'clock in the morning." I said, "Ray, I got a lot of stuff going on." He said, "Make some calls, be here by 6. Okay. So we gathered at the Winter residence. I think I came in late that night. Ray said, "I found an auction in Oklahoma that can sell a draft of cattle every 12 seconds. We're going to go watch them." Being the constant study, he was quoting Sam Walton that says, everybody, every business has one thing that they do extremely well. Well, we all loaded up in the car. Ray was famous for car drives, long car drives. And, you know, I think he really just wanted time for all of us to be together, but I was worried as hell we'd get in a car wreck and lose all 5 of us in one shot. Well, we made it to the auction, and they did sell a draft every 12 seconds, but the ring was about the size of a pickup box. They sold them 2 at a time, and I know they had an Olympic gymnast running the ring in both games. He let me know one time, he said, "John, there's 3 things that we can improve on with this phone call." I said, "Okay, Ray. Checks, dock cards, and back tags." He said, "The next time you order checks," he said, "those 5-digit checks have the 5 numbers across the top," he said, "just order them with 4 digits. He said, "The dock cards, 1 through 99. We're not going over 99. And he said, "Try to get a hold of those government guys and see if they will print you back tags with only 3 numbers." Well, in complete dumbfoundment, I said, "Why?" He said, "John, I'm telling you, we can reduce the workload and the margin of error with those 3 moves by 20 to 25%. And he meant it. And we did. You know, Ray was an excellent judge of character and excellent at fitting a person into the right position. When I went to manage La Junta, he said, "John, build your own team. There may not be one person there that you can keep. You might have to get rid of everyone." Well, I was scared to death. He said, "Surround yourself with the people that will go to war with you. He said you need balance. You need so many people in their 20s, so many in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. He said failure to do that, you'll all get old at the same time. He would hire superstars, and he said to find a superstar, they've probably already got a job, and you'll have to go hunt them down. College grads, every one of them will bounce twice before they ever figure out what the hell they want to do. Stay away from it. You know, Ray would surround himself with advisors, and he'd give them all an honorary PhD degree in their field of expertise. Ray and I were in Dodge City one time, walking down the alley. I opened the gate, threw the chain back over, and he goes, whoa, right there, John. Jim, come here. Jim, come here. Jim, John Campbell. Jim, tell John about those gates. Well, John, first of all, you don't put the chain over the top. You wrap the chain underneath and put it on top so the cattle can't rub it off. You see these gates? They're exactly 9 foot, 8 inches long, and he said that allows them to fringe freely on a 10-foot alley. Now you see how we have these supports positioned here? When you open that gate, it will lay right back against the fence. Ray shook his head. He said, that's Jim. Jim knows gates. PhD in gates. Or if we would be talking about cattle feeding or cattle on feed, he said, no. He said, sounds like a feed yard question. Said, Diana, get Ross and Ken on the phone. They're the feedlot PhDs. You know, Ray was at his very best when the situation was at its very worst. And no situation was worse than Monday, October the 19th, 1987. Remember that, Ron? Do you really? I didn't. You will when I describe it. It was called Black Monday. It was 35 years ago, and it was a single-day catastrophe, really unequaled in history. And there's not many of you people here maybe that were alive or old enough to comprehend it, but it was bad. The stock market had fell 23%. That would be the equivalent to 8,000 points today in one morning. Every commodity of every discipline was down on the limit, and we had a sale the next day in London. Buyers wouldn't answer the phone. The ones that did had the exact same response. Why in the hell would I come to London and buy any cattle when every person alive knows they'll be cheaper every day for the next month? Well, I was in full panic mode. And if any of you have ever talked to me for very long, you know that I get just a little bit animated and excited when the pressure is on. And if you'll just allow me one minute, I'd like to employ a couple visual aids to try to replicate my appearance that Monday evening prior to calling Ray Winter. Here's how I remember the call. Ray, it's John, it's John Campbell. It's John, you know, John Campbell from La Junta. Long distance call. Hello, John. Ray, stock market crash. The business closed. The doors are locked. It's the end of the world. Panic in the streets. We have absolutely no buyers. How many cattle do you want, John? Ray, 10,000. I know we'll have 10,000. We have 9,800. Ray, it's bad. I don't know what to do. Ray, I heard today there was an Oklahoma feedlot guy shot himself in the hand. Hell, he blew his whole hand off just so he wouldn't have to sign a check for the Catholic. This is bad. It's bad. How many consigners? Ray, I don't know why, and I help you answer your questions. I have no idea what the answer is. Sorry, I forgot this. I really think, I learned an important lesson on this phone call. And this was my defining moment of Ray Winter. And a lot of you heard this quote. I heard it firsthand. He said, John, of those 400 consigners, he said, I bet we worked for a lot of their grandparents, and most of their fathers, and now all of them. That's developed a lot of trust. And we have an obligation to every one of them. Tomorrow, under no circumstances, do you allow that market to collapse. Buy every one of them if you think you need to. We'll get them paid for it, and I'm already working on a place to put them. Who would spend several $1 million in the course of a day for cattle they didn't want, and for a problem that they had no earthly way of knowing was going to happen, or they did not create? But he had a commitment to the customer. His business reputation, his name was on the line. And for that, there was no price tag. Most outsiders assumed Ray was tight and very close to the vest, not a social man. But I can tell you, Ray refused to advertise and promote his acts of charity or compassion. I've seen him pay for college tuition for an individual just because he thought they deserved it. Cover the surgery expense for a customer's child in critical condition. Forgive a debt for a man because he admired his honesty and work ethic. Another famous phone call I received one night, it was about 10 o'clock. Ray said, John, I hear we have an employee that lost a grandson. Are you going to the services? I said, Ray, I just found out. I said, I talked to Karen on the phone. It is in eastern Arkansas. And I said, it's at 9 o'clock in the morning. I just don't think there's no way. I talked to her, I said, there's no way I can make it. Ray said, I see. What's the address and the name of that church? And I said, well, I've got it right here. And I gave it to him. And he said, well, I'm leaving tonight for Arkansas. Maybe I'll see you there. He made you a better person. Compassion. I was in Arkansas. He was brutally honest, always challenging you to be better. One time in Dodge, he introduced me, he said, Joe, this is John Campbell. He's one of our best quarterbacks, but he is absolutely the worst coach I have ever seen. I called him one time and I said, Ray, I just absolutely cannot understand. We have the best auctioneers, the best facility, clean water, I'm guaranteeing every tank, the best of feed, and the best buyers. I have no idea why we don't get all the cattle in the entire state of Colorado. He said, John, you're forgetting one very important fact. I said, I'd like to know what in the world that might be. He said, the thing you don't realize, John, there's a lot of people who just really don't like you. Ray would not be in much favor of all of this attention being directed towards him, but I don't think he'd mind me sharing some of his wisdom. At each one of your tables, I've placed a Ray Winter starter set. And that's an Eversharp pencil and a notepad, the favorite tools of his trade. And if you employ people, own or manage a business, run cattle, feel free to document what you can use. The difference between good and great is 15 minutes. If you're pressured to make a big decision in a short amount of time, the answer is always no. Sell. Do not hold on to your losses. Hold your profits and let them run. Work 6 days to stay even and 7 if you want to get ahead. Renew. Don't repair. A free man arrives early, stays late, goes above and beyond what is expected of him. If you punch in at 9, take an hour off for lunch every single day, punch out at 5, only do what's expected of you, you're forever a slave. You know, I have a son named Ray. I wanted to name my daughter Ray. My wife wouldn't let me. But I can assure you, Ray Winter, without question, is the greatest man I've ever met. This industry, all who ever knew him, are better off because of his presence. Thank you, everyone.